again, all my fellow patriots and you filthy leftist stalkers out there. You are listening to Angela's Soapbox on Raging Elephants Radio. My name is Angela Box. And if you want to follow me, I'd say follow me on Twitter, but I've been suspended. I'll have a little bit more about that later, but hopefully I will be back soon. It is at The Box That Rocks. It's also on Parler and Instagram, and I know I need to get on there more, especially since they've denied me my free speech platform on Twitter. Facebook is Angela Box Public, and I have a YouTube channel. It's just Angela Box. Also, all my content, including articles that I write, and this week's article was entitled Debate 1, Trump Brought an Armored Tank to a Knife Fight. We'll talk about that too. It's all on angelasoapbox.com. So check it all out there. Now, without further ado, every week on my channel, I like to dedicate a sea turtle killing plastic straw to a filthy leftist or a leftist organization. And this week, because of my unjustified suspension, for no reason, it goes to Twitter. Here you are, Twitter, you bastion of free speech and free thought. Not. This one's for you. And so here's what happened. Last weekend was the Unmuzzled rally, and I gave a speech. It was overall, everyone said it was pretty awesome. I'm just going to say that. I'm saying what other people said. You can go check it out for yourself. It's on my YouTube channel. But I gave a speech. It was about 13, 14 minutes long. And after this guy named Hippies for Trump, this guy named Sean, I mean, he was exactly what you'd expect a hippie for Trump to look like. Patchouli, tie-dye, lots of tats, super cool guy, loved him. So he was live streaming the whole thing. And after I got off the stage, he goes, "You're not going to believe this, but about 5 minutes into your speech, the live stream just got yanked. And then after your speech, I was able to go up again. And then a day after that, Twitter deplatformed me. And they've given me no explanation as to why. I have appealed it 4 or 5 times. And basically my plea to them is, you guys, this is wrong what you're doing. It's wrong. You're not being liberal, because liberals actually believe in free speech. Liberals can be as crazy as the day is long, but they're like, you know what? I'm not going to stop you from speaking your mind, because I wouldn't want you to stop me from speaking mine. And that's what rational, free-thinking people all believe. But Twitter is not liberal. Twitter is leftist and fascist and totalitarian. And it's really frustrating to me because, everyone's like, well, go get on Parler, go get on this. And the thing about me is that I like to go where the enemy's at. I know I ended that sentence with a preposition, excuse me. I like to go to where the enemy is, if you will. And that's where the enemy is on Twitter. It's very frustrating. It really is. The Unmuzzled rally was fantastic. We had a totally diverse crowd. We were speaking in front of the Harris County Courthouse. We were protesting Lena Hidalgo and her stupidity. And by the way, Lena Hidalgo still has Houston on red for coronavirus, even though hospitalizations are basically non-existent. Death count is basically non-existent. It's just the cases, don't you know? So until the magic number of below 5%, according to Lena Hidalgo, and then it'll be under 4% and under 3%, and she'll come out in a different mask and say, okay, sorry guys, sorry, we can't go to yellow or orange or green or whatever magic color will get us all back to normal because we're not at 0%. That's the next thing. So she's kept Houston on red. So we were protesting her. We were protesting Governor Abbott and his idiotic mask mandate. And it's because of Abbott that every single municipality and city in the state has to follow this stupid mask rule. And I hate it so much. I hate it so much that when I go into anywhere, it's just a bunch of cowed people standing there with their masks on, looking at their feet, 6 feet apart from each other, doing as they're told. And we've learned so much about the Rona in the last few months. We've learned that it's basically not lethal whatsoever, unless you have pre-existing conditions, comorbidities, and if you're elderly. And, you know, the media, Trump and Melania tested positive for the Rona today. And I was like, oh, God, what else? I mean, 2020, can you please be over? But Hope Hicks had it, and then I guess they got it too. But Trump is he's leading by example. And some people have many theories as to if he really has the Ronas or something else going on. But what I hope he uses this for his convalescence. I sure hope he makes it. He's like, I'm fine. He can show the world that just because you get the Rona doesn't mean you're going to die. And he's in that age range where he could be affected. But he's healthy. He has a clean bill of health. So does Melania. So they're going to be just fine. And what I hope Trump does with this diagnosis is that he takes hydroxychloroquine again and proves once and for all that it works. And speaking of hydroxychloroquine, last week at the Ann Musgrove rally, we had the honor, and it was like meeting a Beatle for me. It was like meeting John Lennon when Dr. Stella Emanuel walked into the second part of the rally, the fundraiser we were at. We were raising money for Home Plate Bar and Grill, which is a bar that is an Astros bar that's basically lost 90% of their business because of Governor Abbott and Lena Hidalgo and Turner and their stupid draconian rules that make no sense. So we were raising money for them, and Dr. Emanuel, I mean, talk about being filled with the Spirit. And I found out that she's also a pastor. So she has a ministry in Houston. She was as kind as could be. It's a little hard to hear. I have her speech up as well on my channel, YouTube channel, Angela Box. A little hard to understand her because she's from Africa and her accent is kind of thick. But you can make out what she's saying. And she tells the story about how hydroxychloroquine became this controversial thing and how confused she was about this. Because coming from Africa, she goes, we take it over the counter for malaria prevention. And it treats a lot of other different things. And again, I've brought this up many times. If you look at sub-Saharan Africa, their rates of Rona infection and deaths is like minuscule to non-existent because their population has been taking hydroxychloroquine to prevent malaria. So it looks like it's also a preventative for the Rona. But, you know, she has been silent. She has been bullied. She has been called crazy. Her faith has been mocked. And I'm telling you, this woman is over the target. Over the target, just like I am over the target. You know, when Twitter suspended me for no reason, and they're actually saying that I reported myself for abusive behavior. No, I did not. So I would like to know, and I would say tweet me, but you can't. On my YouTube channel, on Facebook, message me. Has this happened to you? Have you been deplatformed? Have you been muzzled? Have you been, has your free speech been taken away? And what I loved about Dr. Emanuel is that, I'm going to try and get her on the show one day. But what I love about Dr. Emanuel is that she's unafraid. And I'm telling you, the Spirit was moving through this woman. And she said, this is not a battle between the left and the right. And you know, on some level it is and it isn't. She said, this is a battle between good and evil. This is a battle between people who want power at all costs, denying life-saving drugs to people, and lying about those life-saving drugs, and lying about how deadly the coronavirus truly is, and those people who want to save lives and get the truth out there. Because when all is said and done, when we are at the end of this hell, this year, and again, it'll be over on November 4th, I predict, or shortly thereafter. Once we are through this, I expect there to be massive, what's the word I'm looking for? Class action lawsuits. Because so many people have been lied to. But at the end of the day, guys, look, just because I lost my Twitter, I do feel kind of naked and empty without it. I'm not going to lie. But we have to keep pushing. Whatever we're doing, it's working. It's scaring the hell out of the left. Because they're taking down Trump supporters left and right for no reason. Why? If Donald Trump is losing as bad as they say he is, if he is going down in flames like they're trying to say he is after the debate, and we're going to get to the debate in the next segment, then why wouldn't they just let them self-destruct? Why wouldn't they just be like, oh, yeah, let's have another debate tomorrow? But they're not, are they? They're coming after his supporters. They're coming after him. This white supremacy crap, dredging this up again, that tells me they're in trouble with the Black community, and they know it, because there's been a lot of walkaways. There's been a lot of awakening in the Black community to what the Democrats have done to it. And who the real racists are, we'll get into that later in the show. But my point is this. We have to keep pushing back. Even if you have a bullseye on you, you have to keep pushing back, because common sense, personal liberty, and freedom will win the day, ladies and gentlemen. We just have to keep pushing for it. Push, 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 push. We're in the home stretch. The contractions are coming harder and faster. Our country is on the brink, and it's up to all of us to push, push, push the truth. Because the truth will set everybody free. My name's Angela Box. You're listening to Angela's Soapbox, and we shall return.
What's up, Saints and Patriots? I'm Apostle Claver, a proud Texas nationalist, and I'm here to tell you about Texit. For 25 years, Daniel Miller has been working to see the rebirth of the Republic of Texas. His work has been hard, but his passion is deep. For many Texans, there is a deep yearning, a burning to see the prophecy of Sam Houston come true. But the desire of their hearts comes with many questions. Texit has the answer. It's the new book from Daniel Miller and Defiance Press. Texit, Why and How Texas Will Leave the Union. Texit charts the path to Texas independence. This riveting book of facts and philosophy will soothe your anxiety about the coming change and build your confidence that Texans can get it done. You'll want to buy several copies for your family and friends. Like I've said about this governmental mess, the only way out is out. And the best part of Texit, I'm in it. Texit, Why and How Texas Will Leave the Union. It's selling like hotcakes. Buy it on RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
Our community has been deceived, manipulated, and lied to for too long, especially around election time. The status quo is unacceptable, especially with the Congressional Black Caucus, who made DACA their #1 priority, the needs of the illegal immigrant children above the needs of our children, the priority of the LGBT community's immoral agenda above our religious liberties. It's undeniable that their leadership and the leadership of their party has failed our community. But this administration has done more for the Black community than any other administration that preceded it. $360 million for historically Black colleges and universities. $100 billion of private investment for underserved communities through the Opportunity Zone. Prison reform, religious liberty that's being fought for, school choice, and a pushback against Planned Parenthood's agenda of abortion in our community. It's undeniable that this administration has done more for us than any other administration that preceded us. We need to change our vote. It's undeniable.
Do it, the RER 2+2 Challenge. Howdy, rowdy Texans. It's me, E, the millennial voice of RER. I'm a big fan of RagingElePhantsRadio.com. More Texas voters should be listening to RER every day. A better, deeper knowledge of how Texas works will help Texas voters to make Texas more like Texas. The RER 2+2 Challenge. Listen to RER 2 hours a day, every day for 2 weeks. You'll learn more about Texas politics in 2 weeks than you've ever known. Mark it on your daily calendar. Set your phone alarm. The RER 2+2 Challenge. 2 hours a day, every day for 2 weeks. RagingElePhantsRadio.com. The rebellious voice of Texas liberty.
Welcome back to Angela's Soapbox on Raging Elephants Radio. My name is Angela Box. I'm going to jump right into our future Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett before we get to the debates. Ted Cruz defended her mightily against the attacks and smears from the left. And, you know, I was thinking back about the convention 4 years ago and how disappointed I was in Ted Cruz. You know, I was a supporter of him from the jump when he ran against Dewhurst. I remember going to a speech of his, like in the Heights, and it was such a palpable energy around him, and it was very exciting. And so I was very excited to support him for president, but very disappointed in how he handled things at the convention 4 years ago. But I will say this, he has come around, and whether or not people understood that Donald Trump was going to be a prototypical conservative, whether or not he even is, which I'm not sure he is. I think he's just a common sense person. But I think Ted Cruz is saying, wow, he really is on our side. He's on the American people's side. And he made it very clear who he was going to nominate to the Supreme Court. And remember, when Kavanaugh's seat came up, people were pushing Amy Coney Barrett for it, but Trump wisely said, no, let's wait for Ginsburg. And I will say this, I didn't do a show last week, so I wasn't able to talk about Justice Ginsburg, but to a person, every conservative I saw was reverential to her, spoke of her kindly, can say, you know, I didn't agree with anything the woman agreed with, but she seemed like a nice person, and I wish her well. Her life was extraordinary. She had an amazing career and everything like that. We can all acknowledge that. But the left is so venomous and vituperative and evil, that when Amy Coney Barrett became the nominee, they immediately started attacking her faith. Now, remember, they prop up Joe Biden's faith. Oh, Joe Biden is a man of faith. And, oh, Nancy Pelosi's a woman of deep Catholic faith. Well, let me tell you something. The Catholic Church now sucks. And I am a born and raised Catholic. But this Pope is a disaster. And so for Amy to still be a devout Catholic shows me that look, my faith is strong too. I don't like what's happened to the Catholic Church, but Amy, she is a devout Catholic, and God love her for it. But what they're trying to do with her adoption of Haitian children, saying she's a white colonizer, is pretty disgusting. Scraping the bottom of the barrel. I mean, I guess she's such a white supremacist. She went to one of the poorest countries in the world and adopted 2 children to give them a better life. Now, I used to remember when that was looked upon fondly by the left, when it's celebrities doing it. Oh, look, I'm going to pluck a child from Malawi or Nigeria, and I'm going to raise him in America. Aren't I better than you? It's just disgusting. It's disgusting. Marsha Blackburn, a senator from Tennessee, said the reason that the left is attacking her so much, not only is she a brilliant jurist, even everyone is saying she's a brilliant woman, she is an atheist or secularist. She actually lives her faith. And I think what it shows is that you can not everyone has the same level of ambition or the same level of wanting certain things. But Amy Coney Barrett has shown that she can be a mother, a wife, and a brilliant career woman. And she does it with ease. That is the left's worst nightmare. And I do think it's funny how Trump decided to save Amy for Ginsburg's seat. And Ginsburg said, hey, in 2019, she said, president has the right to nominate and fill the seat if it's during his term. And Trump, all he's doing is fulfilling his constitutional duty. But of course, that can't happen because it's Trump. Anyway, let's talk about the debate. Oh, man, what a debate. What a debate that was. After that thing, I was like, my God, what did we just witness? And I really do feel like Trump brought an armored tank to a knife fight. And Chris Wallace was so biased. I mean, we know Chris Wallace is a Democrat. We know this. He asked Trump the same stupid question 4 years ago about white supremacists. And it's this white supremacy thing. It's like they recycle their old hit jobs on conservatives over and over and over again. Trump's like, of course I condemn it. I've condemned it 8 million times. What else do you want me to say? But that's never good enough for the left, because that's literally all they think they've got on him, which I will go back to this. They must have really, really alarming poll numbers about Black American support for Democrats, if this is the bottom of the barrel they're scraping again. And, Trump was, you could say what you want about the interrupting, but Joe Biden is the one that started the interrupting. And then Chris Wallace continued it. And it was a tag team against Trump from the jump. And I'm sure Trump, he started off pretty calm. But I'm telling you, when you are attacked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by these people, hell yeah, he's pissed. Hell yeah, he's pissed. And he has every right to be. Because we know now that Hillary Clinton, the new declassified information, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, they're the ones that hatched the Russian plot. They knew from the get-go the Steele document or the Steele dossier was crap. They didn't care. They paid for it. And they decided to concoct the Swift voting, which is in a text message with Jen Palmieri and another one of Hillary's henchmen, to Swift vote Trump with this Russia hoax. They invented the whole thing. And I'll tell you what, if you've ever read the book Shattered, which is it's a fascinating inside look at what happened in the Hillary Clinton campaign. In the book, very early on in the book, it says the Russia plot was hatched early on. Because how can we explain why we lost? So they were doing it before the election, and then they ramped it up after the election. The Seth Rich murder, the WikiLeaks dump of the Hillary Clinton and the DNC emails, this is all connected, people. It's all connected. And I said in my speech, once you start seeing everything, you can't unsee anything. Once you take the red pill, you see how it's all connected. You see, oh, how convenient that a pandemic created by China just so happens to hit America during an election year, during the time where our economy is booming, unemployment's at its lowest rate. We're getting ready to have China begging for a deal. How convenient this all just happens. And how convenient that the deep state is going directly true to form. Gina Haspel, the current CIA director, will not declassify what we are waiting to see declassified. Basically, DNI Ratcliffe has asked for certain other things to be declassified, and she's refused. Why, Gina? Damn, Gina, you got something to hide, girl? Those that scream the loudest have the most to hide. So what I'm hoping happens while Trump is in his convalescence for his Rona, and on his deathbed, clinging to life, as I'm sure he will be, with a ventilator and oxygen, and please tell my children I love them. That's what the left wishes would happen. It won't, but whatever. As he's in his Rona quarantine, I hope he decides, well, you know what? Let's take a look at all these documents that Gina Haspel won't declassify, and I'm going to declassify all of them. I'm going to declassify every last one of them. which is what needed to happen 2-3 years ago. But whatever, we'll take it now. But in the debate, Trump decided to bring up all these issues that, of course, Chris Wallace wasn't going to ask. He was going to ask about white supremacy and climate change. What a load of garbage. Here's what I wish Trump would have said about climate change. I wish he would have said, yeah, Chris, climate change is real. Climate's always changing, and man has absolutely nothing to do with it. And America has the cleanest air and water of any Western country on earth. Suck it. That's what I wish he would have said. And about the masks, see, Trump, unfortunately, he's got to play all sides of this because he has people in his task force like Fauci and Redfield and Birx who are deep state, and then he has people like Atlas who are not deep state trying to tell the truth. And naturally he inclines towards Atlas and those people who are saying a mask is simply a psychological comfort. It's a blankie, basically. It's your blankie. If you want to wear a mask, it provides psychological comfort to you, and that's it. But if you want to do it, knock yourself out. I wish Trump would have said, there is no scientific data that shows a mask does anything. It is simply a placebo. It is simply a psychological blankie, and I'm not going to mandate it. It should be voluntary. But he can't because he's being, torn between two lovers, feeling like a fool. I don't know. I know he wanted to say this thing is so stupid. And now that he has the Rona, everyone's like, see, he should have worn a mask. No. There's not been one study that shows it does anything. Trump's going to be just fine, leftists. Melania's going to be just fine. And I do think there are other things going on behind the scenes. And perhaps during this 2 weeks of Trump's convalescence, we're going to see some things happen with the deep state. I sure hope so. We got to see Trump take it to Biden about the Flynn persecution and how Biden is directly connected to that, suggesting the Logan Act for Michael Flynn. All kinds of things. His son Hunter getting all kinds of money from Russia and China. Lots of things came out that Chris Wallace tried to stomp out, and Biden just looked like a deer in the headlights. Look, there needs to be, I'd like to have a debate a week. That'd be great. Trump's just going to get better and better. He'll be just fine, people. And that's the left's worst nightmare, that Trump's going to be just fine. This is Angela Box. You're listening to Angela's Soapbox on Raging Elephants Radio, and we shall return.
Our community has been deceived, manipulated, and lied to for too long, especially around election time. The status quo is unacceptable, especially with the Congressional Black Caucus, who made DACA their #1 priority, the needs of the illegal immigrant children above the needs of our children, the priority of the LGBT community's immoral agenda above our religious liberties. It's undeniable that their leadership and the leadership of their party has failed our community. But this administration has done more for the black community than any other administration that preceded it. $360 million for historically black colleges and universities. $100 billion of private investment for underserved communities through the Opportunity Zone. Prison reform, religious liberty that's being fought for, school choice, and a pushback against Planned Parenthood's agenda of abortion in our community. It's undeniable that this administration has done more for us than any other administration that preceded us. We need to change our vote. It's undeniable.
Hey, Saints and Patriots, it's Claver. And our big puppy Butch thinks he's the king of the castle. Marty. We get it from the RER Pet Store, powered by Amazon. It's really easy. Let me show you how. First, go to RagingElePhantsRadio.com. Scroll down the right column until you see the RER Pet Store. Put in the product that you want. Let's say dog travel kennels. Hit go. And there you are on Amazon.com's website. Choose the product that you want and click on it. Now you have a choice. Add it to your shopping cart or buy right now. You put it in your shopping cart or you buy it right away. Raging Elephants Radio gets your support. So please, support Raging Elephants Radio, our expansion, our growth, by getting all of your pet supplies through the RER Marketplace powered by Amazon. And we get just a small commission, but it keeps the lights on, it keeps us growing, and it keeps us spreading Texas Liberty 411. You're already an Amazon shopper, so remember, just go to RagingElePhantsRadio.com first, put whatever product you want in any one of the search boxes on the website, go to the Amazon.com website, and whatever you put into your shopping cart, Raging Elephants Radio will get a small commission. We're not asking you to stop shopping at Amazon.com. We want you to shop at Amazon.com. Just get there through RagingElePhantsRadio.com. And let me thank you in advance on behalf of all the fur babies out there for supporting the rebellious voice of Texas Liberty.
Oh, Lord. I'm looking down on my notes, and I haven't even gotten to half of what I want to get to. C'est la vie. Isn't that always the way? This is Angela Box. You're listening to Angela's Soapbox on Raging Elephants Radio. And I just want to close the loop on the debates and this white supremacy nonsense. Speaking of the next debate, guess who's going to be moderating it? Yes, someone from C-SPAN. And we know that C-SPAN is unbiased and has no political agenda. They just show you what's going on in the Senate and the House every day, right? Wrong. The guy who's going to be the next moderator, which is at a town hall format, so I'm sure they're going to pack the crowd with Trump haters, is a guy named Steve Scully, who is head of C-SPAN or something. He works at C-SPAN. Guess where he also used to work? Oh, that's right. He used to work in Joe Biden's office when he was an intern in college. And he also worked for Ted Kennedy. That's not biased at all. I mean, if he had worked for Senator Collins or something, the left would be up in arms that he was moderating this debate. It's like, don't worry, it's Senator Collins. She basically hates Trump too. That maybe they would be like, oh, it's all right if he was Susan Collins' intern. That means he's one of us. But anyway, it's just outrageous. And you know what makes it's so nauseating? You see black supporter of Trump after black supporter of Trump come out and say, this is outrageous what they're saying about him. He has done so much for the black community. A person like Herschel Walker or Burgess Owens or Jack Palmer, I think his name. I can't remember his last name. The other football player they had at the RNC convention. Katrina Pearson has a fantastic Twitter thread, and it talks about just a few of Joe Biden's racial problems. I'm just going to read a few of them for you. In 1979, Biden voted to protect the tax-exempt status of segregated private schools. Biden worked with segregationists to oppose busing to help desegregate schools, saying he did not want his children growing up in a racial jungle. Biden eulogized multiple segregationists, including Strom Thurmond and former KKK member Robert Byrd, by the way, Hillary Clinton's buddy as well. As recently as last year, Biden bragged about his positive relationship with segregationists like James Eastland and Herman Talmadge. In 1987, Biden bragged about receiving an award from Alabama Governor George Wallace. He's the guy who threw the hoses on peaceful protesters, actual peaceful protesters marching for desegregation. Let's see. In 1973, Biden referred to slaves as brothers. In 1985, Biden referred to a black singer at a Democrat fundraising dinner as Michael Jackson and Prince, because, all black people look alike. I mean, I could go on and on and on. He's referred to black Americans as void, colored, and predators who are beyond the pale, called them super predators, said Republicans would put black Americans back in chains. He said Biden called Barack Obama the first articulate and clean black candidate. Look, I could go on and on. Whereas Trump, his entire career, has shown by his personal actions an example. Not only is he not a white supremacist, he's not a racist at all. I mean, Jesse Jackson said, before Trump ran for president, of course, said that he did more to help the black community than any businessman he could think of. He received awards from the NAACP. He was adamant on making sure that blacks and Jews could go to Mar-a-Lago, made sure that ordinance was swept down in his country club. I'm just so tired of this. I'm just so tired of it. Like, all we want is to be treated equally and fairly and the same. That goes for any American. Equal justice under the law. We all bleed red. I mean, let's see what other cliches. And it's not a cliche what Martin Luther King Jr. said. It bears repeating. We want to be judged on the content of our character, not the color of our skin. Why is this so hard for Democrats? It's so hard for Democrats because they know their ideas do not win elections. Their ideas are poison. Their ideas don't work. So they have to go with the personal attacks, the tribalization, the identity politics, the critical race theory. And, speaking of critical race theory, when Chris Wallace said, what's your problem with critical race theory? It's just diversity training, President Trump. No, it isn't. It's racist. It tells white Americans that there's something wrong with them, that them by being white, they're inherently racist and they're inherently evil. This is the opposite of what Martin Luther King Jr. was preaching. Anyway, it's so sad. But it's also illuminating because, again, they have no ideas. Now let's talk about what's going on in our fair city of Houston with our disgusting race hustling mayor, Sylvester Turner. Sylvester Turner, I got this in my Google alerts like 6 times this week, so evidently they're real proud of this. Sylvester Turner has now put forward his cite and release program. So you think, cite and release, does that have to do with your stupid mask ordinance? Oh, no. You're still going to get a $250 fine if they catch you a second time without wearing a mask. By the way, I've never been cited. Ever. And I think police officers are like, yeah, we're not doing that. But supposedly, if you don't wear your mask, you can be cited and fined $250. However, if you are a criminal and you commit little crimes, then you're going to be cited and released and then ordered to do some community service and pay a fine. So let's hear, you think, what is this like, loitering or jaywalking or maybe speeding? No. Let's go through some of the cite and release that Mayor Turner has said they're going to be implementing to keep us safe, don't you know? Okay. Possession of a controlled substance. If the controlled substance is 4 ounces or less, cited and released. Criminal mischief. If the amount of pecuniary loss is $100 or more, but less than $750, cite and release. Graffiti. If the amount of pecuniary loss is $100 or more, but less than $2,500. So you can go and tag someone's business, bash their windows, graffiti, whatever. But if it's less than $2,500, bye, you're fine. You can go into a store with your buddies. All of you have big old bags, and if you just start loading up in Target, just looting whatever you want, as long as it's under $750, you're cool. We'll just cite it and release you. Theft, if the value of property stolen is $100 or more, but less than $750. Theft of service, if the value of the service stolen is $100 or more, but less than $750. Contraband in a correctional facility, if the offense is a Class B misdemeanor. So I guess, passing drugs along. and driving with an invalid license, which of course covers all the illegals. This is what the mayor thinks is important in the city of Houston. The mayor that is going to continue to harass people who don't want to wear a mask, harass businesses who want to reopen, harass law-abiding citizens, is going to now cite and release criminals. I mean, this is just a gimme to Black Lives Matter, obviously. Because he's like, well, we can't defund the police because, this is Texas. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to make all these crimes cite and release. They're misdemeanors, don't you know? If it's under $750, you know what? You stole that $600 whatever from Target, that's fine. You can keep it. Just can you pay the fine of $50? Can you do some community service? That would be great. So this is just a gimme to Black Lives Matter. Speaking of Black Lives Matter, Biden was not asked to disassociate himself with them or Antifa. And remember, he called Antifa an idea. Yes, an idea that I guess becomes personified and uses bats and all kinds of other assault weapons to torment citizens, burn down, loot, cause havoc, cause destruction, terrify, and destroy everything in their path. Yes, that's what Black Lives Matter and Antifa does, and Biden wasn't asked to disassociate himself at all. In Minnesota this week, Minneapolis, this is heartbreaking. And, say her name for the Breonna Taylor nonsense. You know what? Say her name. Breanne Leath. She was an MPD officer. She was shot and killed by responding to a domestic violence 911 call. Leath was just 2.5 years into her career as a police officer, fulfilling a childhood dream. She was only 24 years old and a mother. Send a prayer to Breanne Leath. Her life mattered too, but not if you ask Black Lives Matter. Her life doesn't matter at all. Democrat cities continue to have the highest murder rates. 18 of the top 20 cities have projected highest murder rates have Democrat mayors. But Chris Wallace wants to make sure that you know that Tulsa and Fort Worth, their crime rate has gone up as well. And they're Republican cities. Okay, so 2. Congratulations. You found 2. Yeah, crime is going up because of this lawlessness that Democrats have promoted, that Black Lives Matter and Antifa and the Democrat Party have promoted. And every time Trump was getting close to hammering that point in, Wallace was like, oh, we need to move on. And then Biden would keep interrupting and call President Trump a clown and said he's the worst president we've ever had, when Trump is saying, hey, it's all happening in Democrat cities. You want to talk about crime? You want to talk about terrorizing citizens? I'm telling you right now, normal Americans do not want to have their communities terrorized by Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and other mobs. They don't think that citing and releasing criminals who steal and tag their businesses is a real good idea. Mayor Turner is a joke. Art Acevedo, the police chief of Houston, is a joke. And I gave them props 2 weeks ago for pushing back on Black Lives Matter by refusing to defund HPD. But what is this? What is this? They're just tying their hands behind their backs again. They're telling people, law-abiding people, well, you better not have anything you want these thugs to steal because we're not going to do anything about it. We're not going to do a damn thing about it. And you know what else is funny? Symbolism over substance. That's what we're doing in Houston. There's a downtown park that they're going to make into a memorial for lynching. And they're going to call it a place for peace. Yes, there's nothing like to remember a bunch of lynching victims as a peaceful place. And my prediction, it's going to become tagged up and graffiti laden And there's going to be a lot of drug deals going on in that park. But remember, it's a place for peace. All symbolism, no substance. Let's rename things. Let's take statues down. Let's burn books. But let's not ever deal with the real problem. That's what Democrats do. Democrats want to obfuscate their past, their history, their present. Remember, Joe Biden said, "You ain't black if you don't vote for me." Was he asked about it by Chris Wallace? Nope. That debate was illuminating. It was hard to watch, but it was necessary to watch. And now America can see even more what Trump is up against every single day. I don't blame him one bit for acting the way he did. Not one. Not one bit. We are fighting the left on every front. And I'm telling you, they have it out for each and every one of us. I hope y'all are awake. My name is Angela Box. You're listening to Angela's Soapbox. We got one more segment. Do come back. Be right back.
Welcome to Speed Sports Racing Park, guys. We got some fun activities planned for you tonight. You guys ready to have some fun? Yeah. Let's do it. All right. Everything that we have to offer. We did some kart racing. They were out there racing wheel to wheel. We had this pedal trikes where they race big wheel tricycles around the track, and then some RC cars and food and drinks and just having a great time. If you're looking to book a corporate event, man, this is the place to be. There's nothing else like it in Houston that you can do something quite this cool.
What's up, Saints and Patriots? I'm Apostle Claver, a proud Texas nationalist, and I'm here to tell you about Texit. For 25 years, Daniel Miller has been working to see the rebirth of the Republic of Texas. His work has been hard, but his passion is deep. For many Texans, there is a deep yearning, a burning to see the prophecy of Sam Houston come true. But the desire of their hearts comes with many questions. Texit has the answer. It's the new book from Daniel Miller and Defiance Press. Texit, Why and How Texas Will Leave the Union. Texit charts the path to Texas independence. This riveting book of facts and philosophy will soothe your anxiety about the coming change and build your confidence that Texans can get it done. You'll want to buy several copies for your family and friends. Like I've said about this governmental mess, the only way out is out. And the best part of Texit, I'm in it. Texit, Why and How Texas Will Leave the Union. It's selling like hotcakes. Buy it on RagingElephantsRadio.com.
Here's how to use the RER app on your commute and get the latest Liberty 411. First, download the RER app on your smart device, phone or tablet, Apple or Android. Search Raging Elephants Radio in your App Store or Google Play and hit the search button on your keyboard. Connect your device to your car audio system. Do it via Bluetooth or auxiliary jack. You riding old school? Stick in some quality earbuds and enjoy the serious HD stereo. No excuses. It's here. RER app.
Y'all, we got one more segment. Let's do this. Let's roll, baby. Let's roll. This is Angela Box. You're listening to Raging Elephants Radio, and this is Angela's Soapbox. Last week, Florida, the great Ron DeSantis, which, God, I wish he was our governor. I was like, can we clone Ron DeSantis and bring him to Austin? So Ron DeSantis did normal stuff last week, and he lifted all Rona restrictions, including masks and bar restrictions. And he said, starting right now, it's all lifted. Statewide order supersedes all local orders. Masks are voluntary, and you cannot be fined or punished for not wearing one. Bars are reopened. I mean, I know Florida's great and all that, and I know it's a swing state. And I gotta say, it's really telling that DeSantis, in the middle of the Rona and the election season, decided to, screw it, I'm lifting everything. I mean, that's courage. Who doesn't have courage, on the other hand, is our Governor Greg Abbott, who is still stubbornly refusing to relent and let his people go. He's still tormenting one industry, bars, and he's forcing masks onto everybody. And of course, Lena, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, Lena Hidalgo said, we're going to stay on red, even though deaths are plummeting and hospitalizations are plummeting. It's so gross, isn't it? You go around, you go about your business outside, and in Houston especially, it's busy as hell. Traffic is, everything is back to normal, except the bars and having to wear a stupid mask. But Lena Hidalgo is clinging to it. She's clinging to her Rona task force and her Rona colored labeling for dear life. Nope, we're still on red. I keep wanting to say, hey, Lena, where's your degree? Where's your virology degree? Where's your medical degree? Oh, you don't have one. You just are a political hack who went to Stanford because you were a Latina. Let's not kid ourselves here. Dumb as a stump, this one. If you guys could still wear your mask, because you need to protect people and you need to stay safe and you need to stay home. There was a story. Even our local media is starting to wake up to this tyranny. They're like, why are we still on red? Why is there still a stay home order? Nobody's listening to it. Nobody's doing it. And at this point, it's time for everyone to say, screw you, Lena. Screw you, Dora. We're going back to normal. And you know what normal means? Normal means, yeah, there's going to be some cases. But at the end of the day, guess what? The death rate is lower than the flu. It is lower than the seasonal flu overall. For people 70 and up, it is 0.054 is the death rate. For people 0 to 19, it's like 0.00001. For most of the population, it's 0.0001, which means it's not lethal, which means you have more of a chance of getting into a car accident and being beheaded probably than dying from the Rona. I've had it with this garbage. This is just one of the reasons Lena's doing this is to keep this vote by mail scheme going, which keeps getting shot down by the Texas Supreme Court. But they keep pushing it, don't they? Democrats keep pushing it. And major Democrats, political action committees are throwing millions and millions of dollars into Texas. They keep trying to turn Texas blue. And I'll tell you, as more and more Californians swarm to Texas, it's going to happen eventually. That will be the death knell for our country, but it will happen one of these days if we don't push back on everything they're trying to do to cheat. And now that we've seen all over the country what's going on with this vote by mail scheme, people posting on Twitter all their ballots they're receiving. One guy said, "Oh, I just got I got my ballot in today," and he shows 6 ballots. He said, "I've got my ballot, and then I've got 5 others of people who haven't lived here for 6 years." Yeah, this is going to go great. And there's an affidavit in Harris County, and I'll tell you what, it has to do with Sheila Jackson Lee. And it's being run by elite Democrat officials. It is out of the Texas scorecard. I'm just going to read it. Affidavits allege Democrat officials planning colossal illegal ballot harvesting scheme. Remember, ballot harvesting is when you go collect the ballots. And you can also tell the people, hey, did you vote the right way? You might want to change your vote before I collect it. New affidavits filed in the Texas Supreme Court allege a massive illegal mail ballot harvesting scheme is underway in Texas' most populous county, and elite Democrat officials are leading the effort. Harris County has received attention over the past several weeks for its proposed plan to send mail-in ballot applications to all 2.37 million voters in the county, regardless of eligibility, thereby inviting fraud and abuse into the process. And new testimony suggests that may be only the tip of the iceberg. In his affidavit, this first account comes from Charles Marler, a former investigative specialist with the FBI and current private investigator. In his affidavit, Marler alleges that several Democrat politicians in Houston, Sheila Jackson Lee, are behind this illegal scheme. During my investigation, a core group of names continued to surface regarding the organization and operation of voter fraud schemes. Witnesses have stated to me that Precinct 1 Harris County Commissioner Rodney Ellis and District 13 State Senator Boris Miles are leading the illegal ballot harvesting operation in Harris County. Their chief lieutenants are Houston businessman Gerald Womack and political consultant Dallas Jones, who work directly under them in executing the ballot harvest operation in Harris County. Now, I heard yesterday, I'm trying to see if it's in this article, I heard that one or both of those people are connected to Sheila Jackson Lee. I'm not saying this is 100% certainty, but that's what I heard in the news story. And look what's going on with Ilhan Omar in Minnesota, in her district. They're like, yeah, these Democrat groups, these people, these dum-dums who've given money to Black Lives Matter are funneling it through ActBlue, who are funneling it through George Soros organizations, who are giving $200 to people for their ballots, who are then punching Joe Biden on that ballot or Ilhan Omar on that ballot, and then giving it to a Democrat to harvest. I mean, what the hell is going on? These Democrats act like they want free and fair elections. No, they don't. No, they don't. All these instances that are now coming up have to do with Democrat states, Democrat cities, Democrat groups, Democrat candidates. Wendell Champion is running for Sheila Jackson Lee's spot. And my goodness, I mean, he's been outspent probably 800 to 1. But he's fantastic. African-American guy, young, energetic. He would be a fantastic congressman. I mean, Sheila Jackson Lee needs to be sent out packing on a rail. And now that we've seen how they do it, how they cheat, they're not even hiding it anymore. They're like, we're going to cheat, and this is how we do it. They're so arrogant. They believe that they've got the American people on their side. They believe they know they have the media, sports, academia, and the woke culture on their side. But they think they've got America on their side, and they do not. If they did, they wouldn't need to cheat. If they did, their ideas would win at the ballot box when they don't. If they did, they wouldn't need the judiciary to rubber stamp their insane proposals through liberal appeals courts. They would be winning hearts and minds on their ideas alone. But they are not. And more is going to come out about Democrat schemes to defraud the American public. We have instances saying, well, the ballots can be counted 10 days after the election. Let's find just enough, just like they did to Norm Coleman in Minnesota, Dino Rossi in Washington. They're going to find just enough ballots in just enough precincts. Because on election day, Trump's probably going to win big time. And then they're going to go, which precincts are close? Which precincts do we need to flip? Oh, let's go find some ballots. That's exactly what they're going to do. And if they do, that is the stuff of Civil War, people. Neither side is going to give this up easily. Neither side is going to just bend over and take it. So y'all better be really willing to fight. You better be awake. You better be aware of every scheme they're trying to pull. Because again, if their ideas were popular, they wouldn't need to cheat. Just remember that. My name is Angela Box. You have been listening to Angela's Soapbox on Raging Elephants Radio. Please follow me on Twitter if I ever get reinstated, Parler and Instagram at The Box That Rocks. Facebook is Angela Box Public. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Angela Box. All content on angelasoapbox.com. Please share it. And I will see you all next week. And I implore you, as I do every week, you get in the left's face. You get in their faces because they get into ours. Treat police officers with respect. Be kind to your fellow man, but give the left no quarter because they don't deserve any. See you next week. Bye.